nothing but faith. There's things far too great that I want to accomplish. I'm hoping 25 hours a day, but something good works out, and I'm just like, dang. Think everything's gonna be okay. Yeah, I'm like, dang. Think you might just know the way. I'm like, dang.
Welcome to Dang.
Dang! I'm Todd Bridges.
And I'm Bettijo Bridges, and our guest today is Louis Lombardi. You've seen him in The Sopranos, 24, Entourage, and movies like The Usual Suspects. He's an actor, director, writer, and all-round storyteller who grew up in the Bronx and somehow turned an act for playing tough guys into a long Hollywood career. We're so glad to have him with us today. We're talking about chasing big dreams, staying real in an industry full of fake, and the dang moments that change everything. Hi, Louis.
Hello, Louis. How you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Good. I actually did a movie with Louis. We did a movie together, right, Louis?
Just did a movie, yes,
Yep,
we
together.
did.
I can't wait for that one to come out.
And
Yeah, it should be hysterical.
And he played a mob guy being chased again.
Well, it's funny you say that because that's not my career. So if you say, no, but and this is what I do pride myself on as being an Italian American. If you do watch my body of work, I played 3 gangsters in 100 films. Sopranos, I was the FBI.
Oh, that's right.
I was the FBI. Entourage, I was just a neighborhood guy. And when people say that to me on the streets, I'm like, well, what do you watch that you keep saying that I'm a gangster?
Yeah.
And they're like, Sopranos. I'm like, well, you really don't watch it because I'm the FBI agent.
Yeah.
So when people say that, I kind of get defensive. Oh, he plays a mobster. I go, name the movies. And they're like, and I go, no, because that means you're just being the sheeple and going along with what people say.
What's your favorite character that you played?
I mean, it would be a toss-up in television-wise. It's definitely a toss-up between 24 and Sopranos.
Gotcha.
I mean, those are 2 monster shows with great roles.
Yeah.
I love 24, man. That was a good one.
It was a good show.
Thank you. And if you ever watch 24, you know, it's as opposite of Me Is Real. Where's there a gangster? I play a Secret Service agent crying, brought up on a thing. There's no... So that's why when people say that, I literally tell fans, my daughter goes, oh my God, because I'll be like, well, you seem ignorant because you don't know what you're saying. But the gangsters, I go, no, I'm not a gangster in any of my projects. The Animal with Rob Schneider and Adam Sandler, I'm a cop. It's a comedy.
That's right.
I mean, I go down the list of all my films, Usual Suspects, I'm a cop.
Yep.
So when people say that, that's just the society stereotyping and typecasting because you're Italian or whatever ethnicity you are. People have this tendency to typecast by seeing you. But you know they don't really understand you have a body of work that doesn't represent anything they're saying.
Yeah.
I get that.
And I got honored in City Hall years ago, 10, 15 years ago, for being an Italian American with the body of work that doesn't reflect gangsters. And they gave me a commendation. There was 10,000 people there. Nice. There was Steve Buscemi and his family, the head of HUD, who was an Italian American, the head of Lenox Hill Hospital, who was an Italian American. So they honored these certain groups of Italian Americans based on their body of work.
Gotcha.
You know,
That's
and
awesome.
mine was not being an Italian American, not being a gangster or, you know, stereotypical Italian American roles. And that's one thing I am proud about, you know, my whole career. And being from the Bronx, you know, being an Italian American, a big guy, you know, again, we have a problem with our society where people look and they immediately assume.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem with our society.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has this, you know, oh, that's what it is. No, it's not. Because no one wants to do research, laziness. The internet destroyed our society. You don't see kids out there playing basketball or football. We were kids. We weren't at home. We were out till 5 a.m. We had a basketball court up the corner. When football stopped at 6, 7, 8 o'clock at night in the street, then we'd all go up to the basketball court and play till 5 in the morning. You know?
Speaking of football, Louis, Eagles are 4-0, just so you know.
I know. I got you. But you know what the better thing is?
What?
Dallas isn't. And neither is the Redskins.
I know,
and
right?
To catch them right up.
No, you're
And
right.
what I tell you about starting Dart?
Yeah,
Everyone
you're right.
was like,
You're right.
crazy. My Facebook. I don't know if you follow me.
No,
I
yeah,
have
I
these
do.
football fights.
You're right.
And everyone's like, you don't know what you're talking about, Russell. I go, dude, you need to change the
Yeah.
quarterback. He's
They
got
did.
cement
They're doing
shoes.
well, yeah. Yeah.
He's throwing the ball 80 yards into the goalpost. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Who's your
Put the
team,
young
Louis?
kid
New York Giants.
Well, I'm a Giants
So
fan.
Giants
So
guy.
I shook his hand and thanked him for Saquon. I was very happy with that one.
Right, but look at Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Yep.
Ain't
Doing
just
great in the
Saquon,
Colts.
It's the management. It's the coaching of the team.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying now. It's not really the players. It's the coaches.
That other defensive back went to, I think, the Panthers or something.
Yep.
He's leading the league in interceptions.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So
it's definitely
who is
the
it?
team.
And I've been saying this since they traded Saquon. I said, you guys are ridiculous. Biggest, they should trade the management. And that idiot general manager laughing when he traded Saquon. Everyone's like, what do you mean? You traded your best player who everyone loves, the nicest guy in the league.
Yeah,
Never
he
had a
is
problem.
very nice.
And and he's from the Bronx too.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah. And you're laughing like a real moron, frat boy idiot.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Trust me, I know.
He had that frat boy mentality. Oh, Chicago's not going to pick him up. And he won a Super Bowl. Talk about karma.
That is karma, definitely.
And he's a good family guy. He's got 2 little kids. He's been with his wife since high school.
He has, yes.
College, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, come on. How are you not rooting for that guy?
Yeah.
He was the nicest guy because he even said, I saw him recently, and he said that he goes, I don't care if I get 1 yard as long as my team wins.
Yeah.
Well, think about it. When he was going to break that record.
Yep.
And they're like, we're going to sit you. How do you do that? You should have put that kid in, let him break that record.
He wanted the other guys to eat. He said, I want the other teammates to eat.
And he didn't want the coaches to be mad that he's a selfish player.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So Louis, you grew up in the Bronx.
Yep.
How did your upbringing shape who you are today and the kinds of roles that you connect with?
Well, where I grew up, we grew up in a really tough environment. We didn't grow up with, we're working on a show now with MGM about my life growing up in the Bronx, and we're about to go pitch it next month.
Okay.
And the show's basically about, when I was a kid, I was 3 years old. My father was killed.
Oh,
my
wow,
grandfather was like one of the leaders of the French Connection, which was a big drug ring in the 70s.
Betty Joe probably wouldn't know what that is. I do.
And my grandfather did 30 years in prison the same year. My father was killed. My grandfather went to prison. And all we knew was streets. No one went to school. No one had a job. I grew up basically from 5, 6 years old on the streets. I didn't go to school. I went to 5th grade. I didn't go to acting school. I didn't go to film school. Our whole entire community was about gangsters and drug dealers and drug use.
Okay.
All of our friends died. I've had 30 of my friends do 25 years for selling drugs. I've had 15 of my buddies OD and die.
Jeez,
my brother's been a drug addict since he's 15. He's 60-something. He's still on drugs. I grew up in a household where my mother's boyfriend died of alcoholism at 45.
Wow.
I grew up in an addictive world in everything. And not just drugs, but even money. People were so addicted to money, they would kill each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So... we grew up in this world where everyone was a drug dealer, everyone was a drug user. And it's funny because I don't do drugs, I don't drink, I really don't do anything. I like cooking and having my fun. But we grew up in that world. There was no choice. And it wasn't like people were going, hey, man, we want you to be a gangster. It was all you've known. So if you grew up with doctors or lawyers, you'd eventually want to be a lawyer or a doctor.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
We grew up in a world where everyone was doing 10 years. My grandfather did 30. My uncle did 10. My other uncle did 5. My brother did 5. My cousin did 8.
Wow.
So how did you manage to be able to stay out of all that?
You know what? And the crazy part is I was like the leader of all these people. I was always like, 20, 30 dudes. After my father was killed, my mother moved around a bunch. So I would be on my grandmother's house, my other grandmother's for years, a year or two. And we lived in all these neighborhoods. So I made all these friends. Like I would go to neighborhoods and make all these friends. And then when my mother finally came back around, when we were like 10 years old, we found an apartment that actually we still live in 50 years later. We're still there.
Wow,
so,
okay.
yeah, so we found this place. My mother came back, got it settled. And then, it was just hustle every day. It didn't matter if you were 11, 12 years old. And the guys in the neighborhood were mostly, street guys.
Yeah.
So when they would take us in, they would be more about, I'm going to teach you what I know. It wasn't intentional. Like a lot of these guys didn't go, I'm going to teach you to be a gangster.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys' mindsets, well, I'm going to teach you what we know to make sure you get through this world we live in.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So a lot of the street guys that I grew up with, were teaching me what they knew. That was it. It wasn't about, I'm going to make you somebody. It was, this is what you need to survive.
Right.
Again, if they were doctors or lawyers, I'd probably been a doctor or a lawyer.
Right.
So we didn't go to school. I went to 5th grade. I didn't go to acting school, film school, anything. You know how I learned how to act? When I have headshots at 12 years old. People go, when was your big break? Sopranos. Before Sopranos, I did 100 films.
Wow. Okay.
I did. Look at my resume. It was
Yeah.
all before, most of the films I did in the '90s. I worked with John Landis, Tim Burton, Ivan Reitman. I mean, I go Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone started me out, and that's
Yeah.
what
How did you get into that? Like, how did you find that?
Well, I'll tell you, because as a kid, when I lived in all these different houses, at 5, 6, 8, 10, that was 73, 74, 75, 76. I would just sit in the basements of my grandmother's, just me and some, at the time she seemed like she was 80, but I would sit in the basements of their houses while, by myself. And I would watch The Odd Couple. The Odd Couple was like my life.
Yeah.
And then All in the Family, The Jeffersons, that whole 70s series, Mork and Mindy, Laverne and Shirley, Happy Days. This was what I would do. Honeymooners. I would sit home and I would watch TV at 5, 6, 8, 10. Carol Burnett Show. Well, that whole 70s was my indoctrination into Hollywood.
Okay.
So I would just sit there and fantasize on television. And The Odd Couple was really what made me want to be an actor. Still to this day, I had them. I had the DVDs. I would watch them. I would, So as a kid, I would go, "Wow, this is fascinating." And there was no distractions at that young age.
So how old, Louis? Are you saying about 10 or 12? I think you said.
No, I was. No, when my father was killed, and my grandpa, it was like we were 3 and 4 years old.
Oh,
at
wow.
5 and 6 years old, I would just walk around the Bronx, the streets. And I was a kid. And it's so funny because I have a video of Vincent Pastore, who played Big Pussy on The Sopranos, right? And he talks about how I know Vinny. When I was 11, 12, 13, he owned a nightclub, Vinny. He wasn't always an actor. He owned a bar and a nightclub in New Rochelle.
Wow.
And I worked at a restaurant watching my uncle's restaurant. I would make sure no one stole. I was 11, 12.
Wow. And
So
then when was this that you were watching all the TV in your grandmother's basement?
5, 6, 7, 8,
Oh, wow.
9,
That's
10.
the same age as around like what Todd?
Yeah. I started at 5 watching Sanford and Son. Is what got me into it.
And I would watch television and dream about getting out of the the nightmare that we live in.
Oh,
yeah.
But it wasn't a nightmare at the time because, to be honest, we had massive clout. Even still till today. We could do what we. You know what I'm saying? So it was almost a fun experience, even though it was as dark and horrible as a real life situation. But in our lives, it was normal. Everybody went to jail.
And everybody took care of you too, though, right?
Everyone took care of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone took care of me. All the dudes, they knew my father, my grandfather, though, everyone. Even till today, I go back, everyone's still great to me. All the main guys, all the big dudes. These are people I just grew up. So as a kid, when I got to 11 and 12 years old, I went and got headshots, right? And what I would do is I would take the bus down to Manhattan.
Okay.
And I would go through his magazine called Backstage, which became a massive part of my life, was Backstage. So I would go downtown. I would get Backstage in my neighborhood. I would look where the headshots are, the duplications are. Remember the duplicate?
Oh yeah, you had to make yeah.
You staple your resume,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So at 11 or 12 years old, I started taking the Manhattan Express down to New York, Manhattan, and I would find a photographer.
Wow. And you were just doing this on your own, Louis. Did you have a mentor? You just kind of figured it out.
Just figured it out.
Wow.
And, when you have nothing, you have to figure it out. That's why most of these kids today are spoiled brats. They deserve nothing. They deserve nothing, because they complain about doing one thing. At 10 years old, I was taken by myself walking the streets of the Bronx, and it wasn't the Bronx as today. It was burnt out buildings. I grew up in Harlem and the Bronx.
Oh yeah.
I grew up in Harlem and the Bronx. We would walk through the South Bronx. That's why I stood every night, until I was, 25. And South Bronx, Parkchester, and I made friends with all these different groups of people, and it's kind of, so it's kind of funny. And then those people became business associates as we got older. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would hang out in all these neighborhoods because that was where we were from.
And that's amazing. You got yourself on the train. You went down to Manhattan.
Oh, wait, so let me. Yeah,
and you went out. Okay.
So I would get the Backstage. I would go down to Manhattan. I would see, okay, headshots, $500, duplicates, $100 for 100. So what I started doing was compiling a little database of what I need, right?
No.
But then I said to myself, I was never a classroom guy, right? Never in a classroom. I went to 5th grade. No one ever checked on me, followed me, nothing. They just left me alone. It's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And so what I did was with that Backstage, right? After I got headshots and I still have the headshots. I'll show you them.
Oh, that's cool. We would love to.
Hold on.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Can you
want to
dig
see
them out?
I want to see one of those headshots.
You're gonna laugh at these. Watch this.
Do you have a
Hold
giant
on.
afro like Todd did?
No.
Yes.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
I can't wait
Oh,
to
I
see
can't
this.
wait to see him.
Hold on.
That's
hold
probably why
on
we're
a
both
sec.
bald today.
Hold on. Can you guys see?
A little bit.
Oh.
Right there.
Hold
Hold
on.
it right there. Don't move it.
Oh, yeah.
No, I can see it. Yeah.
You'll have to send those to us, Louis. We'll put them in the
Yeah,
show
we'll
notes.
put them in the show. Yeah.
So people can
Those
look
are
at them.
that's 11 years old.
I can't wait to see him closer up. Yeah, you'll have to send
so
them to
what
us.
I did was I took the Backstage, and after seeing get headshots, duplications, and all of that stuff was that's like the fundamentals.
I mean,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of money, Louis. You had to come up with a lot of money to
I
make
was a
this
street
happen.
guy since I'm 10.
He knew how to hustle to get the money.
That's all we ever did.
Yeah.
But the best thing that happened in my life, because it bred me for Hollywood, which
Yeah.
is wait. So let me finish. So what I did was when I started reading the Backstage, I was like, oh my God, look at all these auditions, NYU films, student films, independent
Yeah.
films, right? In the magazine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right, Todd?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So what I did was I started sending those headshots that I got from Manhattan. I made up a fake resume. I just put stuff on there.
That's what
I did
everybody
like-
does, though. Everybody
Everybody
did that.
does, right, Todd?
Everybody did that.
And,
Yep.
and I
Just
did
put-
like HD
jobs that don't
Studios
exist,
and,
yeah.
and Sprout and all these fake things.
Yeah.
So what I did was I started realizing, look at all these NYU films. So I started auditioning for NYU films. And when I would audition, because I didn't want to be in an acting class, acting school. I hate school. So I would just say, I'm going to figure this out. So I would send my pitches that I got made to NYU auditions. And I ended up getting a bunch of auditions, and I started getting movie after movie from NYU. So what happened was, not only did I learn how to act for free on a real set and not in
yeah.
the classroom,
Yeah.
because I don't believe in the classroom acting things. If you need to be in a classroom for 10 years as an actor, you're not going to make. I mean, you got to have it. You got to have that oomph. You can't
Yeah.
depend on a class by crying in a bathroom. You got to be able to cry in front of 100 people over and over, 10 hours.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
People get rattled. Me, I could sit here and start crying. My daughter laughs. We do it every day at restaurants. She's like, don't do it. I'll be like, I'll start crying. She'll be like, oh, even now when I am out and shit, people go, oh my God. but so I started learning how to make movies for free instead of this $100,000 a year education that these kids were paying.
Right.
I was getting it for free. I'd go on sets and I'd watch them make movies. And this is not a little student. They were making $100,000 student films. Like,
Yeah.
these kids have money. Their family.
And you were this young kid still, right? Like
13, 14.
Yeah.
You see the headshots.
Did
Yeah.
anybody ever say, "Why aren't you in school?" or anything?
No one. No one.
Interesting.
That's even funnier.
No one. That's what I was saying to you. No one cared.
Yeah, they were just like, "Okay, he's here."
And it's a good thing about them days when you can, fluff up your resume. They couldn't check.
No
they
one
couldn't check
checked it,
anyway.
Todd,
There was
but
no
yeah.
internet.
And you know what? You are
Couldn't
an
check.
actor, so you're just acting like you have a good resume.
That's right. That's
That's
exactly
it.
right.
That's
But
it.
you know what happened? I accumulated 10 or 15 NYU films, so I had demo reels,
Okay, there you go.
right? I still have them right here.
On,
Me and my daughter watched.
on VHS
Dude,
or
me
beta.
and my daughter just watched. They shipped me my stuff from New York, right? Me and my daughter just watched my first NYU film. I was 16. We just watched it on my VHS tape,
That's
and she's like,
hilarious.
"Oh my God, I still have them."
That's
So I
hilarious.
did a bunch of them. So what that did was that trained me to be an on-set actor, not a classroom actor.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And what people don't understand about acting, it's not acting. Distraction is everything.
Yeah.
You get on a set, hair, makeup, wardrobe, fix the line, don't move out of line, don't move out of set, all within 3 minutes, and you got to go action.
Yeah.
You got to process. So I believe it's the distraction that messes with people.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know what
it
I'm
is.
saying?
Yeah.
It's,
Oh,
it,
yeah.
it messes people up. So, oh, the makeup, the powder, hair, don't move this, change a line, listen to this guy's line. If you lean too much to light, you have all this stuff you got to compress and compact within, and then they say action.
Yep, you got to be able to turn it on and turn it off.
Immediately, but it's all about the focus.
Yeah, it is.
You can cry all you want in a classroom, in a bathroom, and everyone's clapping. But if you're not on set with 100 people taking 27 directions and then saying action in 5 minutes, that's what acting is. I don't care. I've been doing this since I'm 12. I'm 57. I've been doing this my entire life. And I watch actors, I call it the downward spiral. They forget their lines once or twice in the scene in front of act, and they start to panic, and then they start to forget it, and they start to hyperventilate almost inside. I call it the downward spiral. You just got to stop and reset.
Yeah.
Don't listen to people around you. I don't care. The actors around me.
Yeah, go. Yeah, I tell people all the time though is that you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna forget a line. It's not a big deal. But people get panicked. Because that's what happened when we worked with an actress. I won't say her name. When we were younger, she would start panicking, and it made us panic because we were kids. So we start panicking. We're like, oh my God, what's going on? Because she panicked, it made us panic. So the secret is you're going to make mistakes. It's so what? Just read, because they can always redo it again, especially now when it's digital. It's even quicker. They can run all day long on that stuff. It's not like it's film.
Right. So that's the problem with what actors don't realize in acting. They especially if you've never been on a set and you're being told 100 different things and you have to do it. They start panicking. It's so much direction at one shot. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the funny part is like my life is kind of funny because my life, all that hustle and all that negativity and drama in my life from a kid, from 4 or 5 until now, was when I did all these films, what kind of bred me for Hollywood, which most of the people I started with were like Strasbourg actors and grew up in nice areas and never really had the mental struggles. And I would be sitting in a house with all these dudes when we first got out here. I lived in a house with like 5 of these actors, all from this movie I did called Amongst Friends. So they would sit there and they couldn't take the mental rejection.
Yeah.
Hollywood is all rejection. They tell you every day how much you stink.
Oh my gosh. It's 99% rejection.
That's right. That's right, Todd. So they had education in a classroom. They grew up in places. I was learning like the gritty, hardcore, organic way. So when we got to LA, gotta remember, I'm from the street, so I'm used to them saying fighting with people constantly, aggressiveness and rejection. They weren't. And the majority of people that come out here to be actors don't have that. And that's the biggest thing I say is a problem, because if you're not used to it, you could tell me all day what you think about me. I don't care. I don't care about you. I don't care what you think of me.
You got such a thick skin from your...
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. You don't know me. I'll tell you to your face. I don't care. I've done it from the streets and made me successful on the streets. And it isn't a game because I just don't care.
Yeah.
If you have no respect for me, I will retaliate. If I like you, we'll be buddies. But if I don't, you will know I don't. And you could ask people who know me. So I don't, I never play games. If I like you, you know where you stand.
Oh, yeah.
And when we got to Hollywood, all these guys were Strasbourg, the coffee's hot, doing all of that stuff. And I'd be like, I was just doing student films. They'd be like, we'll take care of you. But what happened when I realized over the years of living in this house with these 4 or 5 actors, they couldn't take the mental side of it, the rejections every day. And I thrived in it. I was like, I like this. I'm not going to. So if I go into an audition with 3 showrunners, 5 writers, what's the worst going to happen? I'm not going to get killed. Which
all they can say is no. That's what I keep telling you. All they can say is no.
God. And I would say, I don't care. You can't do anything to me.
Yeah.
Well,
that was
my mindset.
That was one of the things that I learned is when I used to go on these auditions, I'd go in there and just be myself. And either I was good. Usually when I was really, really good, I didn't get the job. When I was the absolute worst and I was like, this is the worst performance I ever did, I get the job. Now, I don't know
that's so
what
funny.
that's about.
Well, no, because I would do the same. I'd be in the house. I remember they were Strasbourg out. The coffee's hot, doing all the thing. And I'd be in my room, like playing like Sega, like Madden.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be hanging out, just chilling, running my lines, just throwing them aside. And they'd be like, you don't even study and you get these jobs. I go, because you take it too serious.
That's exactly right.
Why.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. And they would be like, you don't know, we're going to be stars. Where are they now? All
Oh,
seven
yeah.
of them are gone. They couldn't take the mental
Yeah.
side of Hollywood.
Oh,
The
yeah.
mental side of Hollywood, you could be the best actor, but if you can't
Yep.
take the hard reality, you might not work for a year or two.
Yep.
There's times I don't work for a year.
It's rejection, and that's what
Right.
you have to be used to is rejection. And a
Well,
lot
and
of
what
times
do
in
you-
the business, people aren't.
And what do you do with that rejection? It's like you have to take it and let it go or let it
Oh,
dry.
I
No,
build
you-
off it.
you-
I build
yeah.
off it. You tell me no, I'll be like, they used to have a running joke, and they still tell me to this day when I do them, I used to go, let's see who's where in 5 years. And that was my aggressiveness because that was a street mindset. And they'd be like, oh, okay. And they still call me, this is 35 years later, and they'd be
Oh,
like,
yeah.
remember when you used to walk around the house saying, let's see who's where in 5 years?
Oh, yeah.
They all left. All their Strasbourg stuff went down the toilet. And I'm a kid who had no education, whether it's regular school, film school, acting school. I did it the unconventional way. And I'm still here 33 years later, still thriving.
Yeah,
Selling
it's
I
like
take
your recovery where people said you were the most likely to
Oh, yeah.
to relapse. And so
I
that's
stayed sober just to piss them off. That,
Right.
In the
And that's
beginning,
what I
so
did.
yeah.
And they're all gone. The guys I started with, none of them are here. So what happened was, let me go backward. So all those NYU films I would do, I would send my stuff to Backstage. Anyway, long story short, I submitted it to this independent movie in 1990. Send it out. I get an audition. I go there. There's another big dude there with jogging suits. His role was interesting. The movie was called Amongst Friends. It was
Okay.
nothing. It was an independent little movie. Just like Backstage. I
Yeah.
did 20 of those little independent
Yeah.
scenes. You know, you do them. You don't know if they're going to go. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
Todd? You just do it and you do it. And you leave.
Yeah.
You walk away. You don't call. So anyway, I auditioned for this movie. They liked me. The other guy was there. They liked him. They were like, okay, we're going to split this role into two.
Oh, okay.
And we're going to put you both in it because you guys are both great. And you know who the casting person was?
Who?
Mira Savino.
Really?
Now we're
Wow.
going back to before she did anything.
You know what I mean?
okay.
Sabrina?
Tell for people that are
The
outside the
reason-
industry, who's that?
Mira Savino, she won an Oscar for the Woody Allen movies, and she's like a big Paul Savino's daughter.
She also
But
won.
when
She also won my cousin Vinny, the Oscar for
no,
my
no,
cousin
that was
Vinny.
Marissa Tomei.
Oh, that's Marissa Tomei. That's right.
Right.
Okay.
But Mira Savino did that Woody
That's right.
Allen movie,
Yes,
won an Oscar.
yes, I
Anyway,
remember
the reason she was involved with our film, this independent thing, because her dad put up 15 grand as associate producer.
Oh,
for her.
wow. Okay.
So
That
she
makes
was
sense.
helping cast the movie, doing like
Yep.
production stuff, and she would audition all these people. So she hired me and my buddy. We would go
Wow.
back with her since 1990, Mira.
Wow.
Wow.
Right? So anyway, this is, you never know. She was auditioning like Daisy Fuentes at the time from MTV. She was like a famous MTV person.
Yeah,
Daisy
she was a
Fuentes.
she was a VJ,
All these
yeah.
women were auditioning for this role before they were famous, mind you.
Yeah.
This was just this is like who we grew up, you know, like who we were around. So as time goes on, Mira's auditioning people, we get hired. So now the girl who was supposed to be in the movie, right, was backed out. And we were like, oh my God, holy crap, you know, we have to do this movie. Like, we don't have the female lead. So the director goes, Mira, you've been running the lines. You know them all. Do you want to do it? You're an actor. She's like, sure. And she put herself in the movie because she knew it by auditioning
yeah.
people.
Yeah.
So she gets in the movie. 2 years go by, 3 years go by that they're putting this movie together, right? Piecing it. We're shooting scenes here. A year or two later,
Were you shooting on shorts? Were you shooting on shortcuts? You know, the short ends of the film?
No. They were shooting the movie, but every time they got a couple of bucks, they were shooting scenes.
Oh,
Shooting
gotcha.
scenes,
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
So 2 years later, in 1993, 40-something of my buddies get arrested in this massive drug ring. And I was so fortunate because a lot of their greed cut me out. As they got older, they got greedy. And that's what the theory of my show is greed is like cancer. Once you get it, you are done. I used to say that on the streets because you can make money. If you share it, everyone will still stick with you because they're earning. But when
That's
you
right.
get greedy and start cutting people out,
That's
that's
right.
when everyone gets envious, jealous, and goes, I'm going to rat you out. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to get back because you're taking it all.
But
You know? So-
it even works that way in regular business. If you grow a business
Right.
and you make all your employees rich, you never have to worry about them stealing. They won't let nobody
but how
steal from
we-
you, and they'll always keep you up on a high post because this is how I became a millionaire because of this guy, and he's
Right.
still making me millions. So
I do
guess
that
what?
with the
I'm gonna do
pizza
my
truck.
job.
My pizza truck.
Yeah,
I
we'll
feed
talk
everyone.
about that in a minute. Don't
Yeah,
mention
I
it. We'll talk about
feed
that in a minute.
everyone. I give people stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care. They love me when I do these events. You know, you take care of people, even
Oh,
your
yeah.
customer. So anyway, so we do this movie. Long story short, 40-something of my buddies get arrested, right? And they all cut me out a year before. Thank God. You know why?
Right?
Well, this is what my show's about at MGM.
Okay.
And we have massive people attached. Like, I'm not going to say who they are, but you'll know in 2 seconds who the executive producers are. You'll be like, no way. So it's about me, about these kids growing up with no fathers. Because not just me, 3 other of my closest friends had no fathers. So we just bound together out of necessity. We didn't have anyone.
Yeah.
All 4 of us were just 4 kids, and all of our families were kind of connected. But none of us had fathers. So there was 4 of us that just stuck together, and we became our own little, crew of friends. Like, we always stuck together. We made money together. But as they got older, the money started becoming bigger. And that's when greed set in.
Oh, yeah.
And they started cutting everyone out. Friends were no longer friends. It became about the dollar, which was sad. Because you're making $100,000 a week. What does it matter if I'm making 3?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I got. That's what happened. People go, "Oh, you're making 3?" I go, "You're making 100 because of me."
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, no, cut him out." So they cut me out, but not to my face, behind my back, because they were all afraid of me. And I got to remember when I told you when I was a kid, I lived in all these different neighborhoods?
Yeah.
That's how everybody came together. Because they would all drive by when I finally moved to that one apartment. All the people from all the neighborhoods drive by and go, "Ducky!" That was my nickname, Ducky. It's that's even in the show. They'd be like, "Duck." So all these groups of neighborhoods would come to play football against us because they all knew me.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you have 200 people? You go, "Wow, how can we make money?" So at 10, 11 years old, we said, we should buy a quarter pound of weed and bag it up. and that turned into
Everything
20
else.
kilos a week
Oh, yeah.
within a year or 2.
So by you
Again, 'cause
getting
I
cut
knew
out, how did that push you into the draft?
I think it helped him to avoid the arrest. Right?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
They were afraid. I was always like this leader of these guys. So I didn't know. So what happened was they would all be like, "No, we're good. We're good." And I was like, "Oh, okay. No worries." 2 years later, when they all got pinched, I saw the indictment and all the pictures. And the people that a lot of my buddies hated, right, were dealing with them behind my back.
Oh, wow.
And if I would have told these dudes, "Hey, these guys talk shit," they would have fucking probably killed these guys. You know what I'm saying? They would have probably freaking killed these guys easily. So it was all a cutthroat business, just like Hollywood is.
Yeah.
Just like Hollywood is. And this is what made me thrive in Hollywood. I was so used to this.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
when they cut me out, right, I was like, okay, whatever. And I just did my minimal stuff. I just stopped doing it because I was so focused on acting now, right? So as we did this independent movie, all my friends got arrested. The movie, we get a call from the director. Now, is this fate? Like, this way, sometimes you got to believe a lot of things happen for a reason, and fate just comes in sometimes, and you got to accept whatever happens. So all these dudes get arrested. I'm sitting in my house going, "Oh my God, like, what do I do with my life now?" You know, everyone's gone. My family's already doing 30 years. My friends are doing 25. Like, I'm sitting in my house, and FBI just pinched like 40-something dudes in my neighborhood, in my building, in my house, like everywhere. And I'm sitting there, and I'm thinking in my mind, what do I do with my life, right? And all of a sudden, a phone call rings, and they're like, "Yo, dude, this is the director." He's like, "This film we did 2 years ago, we put it together. It just got accepted to this film festival in Utah called Sundance."
Oh, wow.
1993, mind you. It was nothing Sundance.
Yeah.
But there were great filmmakers, Steven Soderbergh, right?
right.
It was when filmmakers we becoming Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
The year we were there, it was Robert Rodriguez, Jennifer Lynch, Brian Singer.
Wow.
This was the group of filmmakers that came out of the year 93.
Yeah.
But I was like, from the Bronx going, "What's Sundance?" Another learning. It's like I learned Backstage.
Yeah.
I learned how to get headshots. And then I learned what to do with those from that same magazine. So that $2 I paid for Backstage for years paid off. Right?
Yeah.
It was my education.
Yeah.
It was my, how do I do this? And I would read the newspaper. So the movie, the director calls, he goes, "We're going to Sundance. Everybody just drive from the Bronx." Now, I had $5,000 left. We couldn't do anything on the streets because FBI was everywhere. All of our friends were indicted, the pictures. And when I got the indictment and I got the pictures, I was like, "Oh my God, they all went behind my back."
But that's good for you, though. Yeah.
I was so happy for me because now they're whatever. And I'm going, wow, like I got cut out for certain stuff, and okay, somebody blessed me. And now all of a sudden, A couple of months later, we're getting a phone call saying this movie's going to Sundance. Sundance was nothing. And you know what I did? I had a Maxima. I had $5,000 left. There was no one around, nothing in the Bronx left for me. I took that, didn't know a soul, got in my car and drove from the Bronx to LA, picked up Mira Savino in Venice Beach, and then drove from Venice Beach with me, Mira, and 2 other people. We drove to Sundance, and our film hit massively. I got an agent before at the screening.
Nice.
That I was with for 18 years. A guy named Harry Gold and Sue Wall.
Okay. I know Harry Gold.
I literally was like a kid from the Bronx, just hustling. Now I'm at Sundance with the biggest people, and we're like it. We're like the it movie. It's like, oh my God. And we were everywhere. I mean, we did covers with Bruce Weber shot us for covers of Vogue. I mean, we were in 1,000 magazines. We were on every news station. There's a kid. Remember, I drove from the Bronx 3,000 miles and then went 2,000 miles to Utah in my car with Mira and 2 other people. And when we left there, our lives would change. So if that wouldn't have happened with the people I grew up with, I would have never left the Bronx.
That's true. You're absolutely right.
And
you probably would end up in prison for a long time.
I would have. That's exactly where I would have happened. So I end up. That happens for a reason. And I go, okay. Now I'm sitting home alone, and I go, what do? I take the drive. I say, to hell with it. I got nothing. I take my little money. I drive to there. I come back. We're kind of famous now. The movie hits massively. Okay.
So after that, did you go back to the Bronx or did you stay in LA?
Oh, I stood in LA. There was no need to. I had 100 auditions a day. Yeah. I did, like I said, before Sopranos, I did 50, 60, 70 movies.
Wow.
So throughout the 90s, I didn't do Sopranos until 2000. From 93 to 2000, I did a show for Paul Haggis. It was before The Sopranos. It was like that kind of show. Joey Pantaleone, Mike Starr, Jason Gedrick, Ken Olin. It was called Easy Streets. I did a show called Fantasy Island. Me and Malcolm McDowell were in Hawaii. I shot a show for a year there. Barry Sonnenfeld did it. Before Sopranos.
Yeah.
This is stuff I did. So what happened with my idol growing up was Oliver Stone. I would read his books. I want to be like Oliver Stone.
Very good.
Who was the first person I met when I got from Sundance back to LA? Who was the first person I meet face to face? Oliver Stone.
Wow. Nice. What was that like?
Talk about just putting it out there, right? And the director, Oliver, loved the movie. That's amongst friends. He said, hey, guy, come into the director. He said, can you come in? I want to talk to you about doing a movie. My director, who was my buddy, goes, Louis, I don't have a car. Can you drive me? And I'm like, sure. Are you out of your mind? I had no union card, nothing, mind you. I drive my buddy to Oliver Stone's office in Santa Monica. I meet Oliver. I got into the office. Oliver's staring at me. And I'm like, oh, my God, look at this. My first week in Hollywood, I'm meeting like my idol. This is like surreal, right?
Totally.
And he looks at me and he goes, man, who are you? I go, I'm in this movie trying to just be nice. He goes, I'm only messing with you. He goes, I love your look. I'm going to put you in my next movie. I was like, what? Remember, I'm here a week now. From Sundance to here, I'm here a week. I meet the guy that's like an idol to me. I read everything. I want to make movies like him. And he puts me in Natural Born Killers. That's how I got my SAG union card. That's how I started. Oliver loved me, put me there for 3 months with him. I hung out with Woody Harrelson, Robert Downey, Tommy Lee, Don Murphy. Every night I was out with them. They loved me, and I ended up grouping up with them, and they just took me with them. And that was my initiation into Hollywood, which was a crazy party time.
That was a crazy time.
Yes. They wrote books. They wrote books about the making of that movie.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm sure it was wild.
There's books written on the making of Natural Born Killers. I was in Joliet prison for 3 months every day. And that's what really made me not want to ever be a criminal again. Being in that prison with real convicts. Real convicts, real stuff, dude. It wasn't, and I was like, oh my God, like my friends are doing this for 20, my grandpa, wow, I don't even want to be here for another day. It was horrible.
I actually did time, so I know.
Right. Hey, and it kind of scared me straight.
Well, that scared me. The last time I was there, that scared me straight. That's when I was like, I am never coming back here again. And I didn't.
I was doing the movie there, and I wasn't even a prisoner, and I was horrified.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. You wrote. Go finish that one. Go ahead.
So anyway, we come back, we all blow up, all of us. Mira gets, you know how Mira got started? At Sundance, Robert Redford, when it was small, when the award ceremony, Mira was up there, and when our film won, our film was like nominated for best, and he loved Mira, and he put her, and Robert Redford put her in one of his movies, I think Quiz Show or some movie Robert Redford did,
Show,
and that's what started it. And then when she got back, everybody hired her, and she won an Oscar, and that's her story. But it was almost an accident for her as well as us. It was
Right, because she was filling in, right? She wasn't even. She was filling in that
That's
role.
how it usually happens. Trust me, it usually does.
And even with us, they split our role, which was one role, and it ended up making these two characters iconic.
Right.
Me and the other guy ended up doing 6 or 7 movies together as partners. From that movie, we were partners. We did Usual Suspects, Rudy. We did like 6 or 7 movies together from that one role. We had like, and the guy I did the other role with did like 50 movies.
And
massive.
Mira could see it. She saw the way you guys.
Well, it wasn't even Mira. It was the director, Mira. But yeah, she was like, I'm going to split these guys up. They're so funny differently. I didn't know the guy. I just met him at the audition.
That's so funny.
In Manhattan, in some little weird office. I don't know, Todd, when you used to go to these, there used to be like little rooms back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
You weren't in like some studio. You were in some little casting room.
Sometimes you'd go behind some people's house into a garage audition.
A ton of times, Todd, a ton of times.
Yeah,
you're walking behind someone's house going, am I at the right location?
Until they made it now to where it has to be an office.
Now it's self-tape too.
Yeah, now that's
that's horrible for me because my biggest strength is, and it was a street thing, was I'd be able to walk into a room and get along with everyone.
Yeah, that's exactly that was the best part.
That's my biggest strength as an actor, and that became from the streets. I'd go into bars, clubs all night when I was 12, 13, and I would just make everyone friends with everyone. That's how that ring got to 46 people.
Yeah, your
everyone
personality
would just come
sometimes
around
got you jobs. Your
right. So when I would go into
to
auditions, there'd be 20 people. I'd just go in and bust chops. Hey, make jokes, and before I even auditioned, I got the role.
Yeah,
it would be personality based.
Yeah,
and people would be like, "Oh," and then when I got there, I was obviously decent enough to do the role.
Yeah,
but it was your personality. Immediately was my personality was my acting school when I got here. So I got almost every role I went for.
Yeah,
it was incredible.
Yeah, doing it now, self tape has made it very like stale. It's made it very like robotic. It's just and that's why I tell you a lot of times when I'm doing, I'm like, it doesn't matter how I do. If they want you, they want you. If they don't, they're not.
That's right, Todd.
Period.
Todd, I tell my daughter, I tell my agent, this is irrelevant, dude. You're in your bathroom going into the camera.
Yeah.
And what's the reason? There's no COVID. You have the offices. There's nothing. Yeah. It's laziness. And they keep picking these people who are the same people and all the same product because, you don't know how to write it. But that's why everything looks stale on all the streamers. And who watches half this stuff? Yeah. There's no more creativity.
Nope. You wrote and directed Doughboys, right? You wrote.
I wrote, directed, and starred in that.
Okay. So what did it teach you about storytelling back then? Was it because of what you've learned from the streets?
No, I did that. I made another movie in 1997. I wrote, directed, and starred, and it's called The Boss. And the same people that are in this 10 years later that are in Doughboys were in this movie. Oh, before I went to Hawaii to do my show Fantasy Island with Malcolm, I did this independent, and it blew up, dude. Peter Green was in it. But Gandolfini, before Sopranos, I'm talking 97, came to the screening. We had 500 people there. We shot it all at the Roxbury, that nightclub, the Roxbury. The whole movie was shot there. Everyone was in it. I wrote there, and then I started getting calls at the time from Colin Callender, who ran HBO, to direct some of their stuff because they had people there. This is at the time in Hollywood when 97, when you were getting jobs, you were doing stuff.
Oh yeah.
And they called me to direct a bunch of stuff, right? HBO. They wanted me to do a thing called Subway Stories. Mm-hmm. It was a show that, what's her name? That the Hispanic girl starred in, not Jennifer, Rosie Perez.
Oh yeah, I know Rosie Perez.
She was the star of this thing called Subway Stories. And they called me because they loved this short film I did. Everyone was in it, dude. It was crazy. I mean, you can't even air it. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I got porno stars in there. I got Peter Green. I got Mike Starr, Jim. I got massive amount. It's crazy, dude. It's hardcore. But we couldn't release it because it had so much. It was crazy. It was like a real episode of a TV show back then. So I got called by all these people to direct. And what happened was I got the show called Fantasy Island, which pulled me out of the directing thing. So I went to Hawaii that same year, which I would have rather been a director than an actor. So as the time went on, I was getting calls to direct, but I was living in Hawaii
Oh, okay.
doing a show. And I was getting called from HBO and all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, like, oh my God, I could be. And I couldn't do it because I took the job and I was a year in Hawaii starring on a show for ABC.
That happened to me once too. A big Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They offered me the job because I played a black character that was in it, and I was already on a project. So you kind of like, nothing you can do about it.
Sometimes that happens.
But that would have changed the whole trajectory of my career. Because I would have been, I think I would have been a great director. I might be a decent actor, but I would have been a great director because again, it's the streets. I get along with everyone.
Yeah.
Tell us about your daughter.
What?
Tell us about you have how many kids? One, right?
I have one daughter.
One daughter.
Yeah.
And
she's with me all the time. We're partners in the pizza. We're partners in the pizza business. She works. She's been doing this for 3 years, managing the money, getting the health permits, getting the manager's permits, stuff that.
Tell us about your pizza truck.
Well, again, growing up, all the men were dead or in jail in our family, everyone's family, not just mine. And let me stop you. Let me go back. This is what I tell people. My father being killed, and people go, "Oh, that's terrible." And you know what? I actually go, "Well, it's actually not." And my grandfather doing 30 years is like, you go, "Oh my God." But you know what happened? It gave me like an out. Like if my father was alive, he would have never gone, "Oh, you're going to be an actor? That's great." And I would have never probably done that because he was around. So I would have followed in the steps of him and my grandfather at the young age.
Yeah.
So by having that break between my grandfather not being there, my father, there was like, okay, I found my path.
Got you.
That makes
you know
sense,
what I'm saying?
actually.
On
Yeah,
my
totally.
own,
Yeah.
Even though a lot of it was criminality until I was 25, but that was all I knew.
Yeah.
Right.
But that was all I knew. It wasn't like I'm going to be a criminal, people. It was like, what do we know how to do? We know how to do this. We have to go do it.
Right.
I have to support my mother. I'm brought up by 3 women. I'm brought up by my mother, my grandmother, my aunt.
Gotcha.
So I'm just going backwards for a minute so you understand. It's going to bring the pizza stuff in.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as a kid, I would cook every day. At 5,
Gotcha.
6, 8, with my grandmothers. When I was in the houses with them, I would cook with them. When my mother got the apartment, my mother cooked every night for 20 of us. My mother was a great mom like that. She would cook all the time. When she got back, we would have everybody back at our house, and I'm used to having 20 people at the dinner table. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not just Sundays.
Yeah.
And that's what I did at my house when I got to LA. I had a house, and everybody would come to my house for dinner. I cooked for Michael Rappaport, Leonardo DiCaprio, Vince Vaughn. Everybody would. This is before they were famous. I have videos of it on the big VHS. I put them in. So anyway, I'm brought up by old women. And again, if my father or my grandfather were here, would I have been in this path to be an actor? No, I wouldn't have this amazingly
you definitely wouldn't
great,
have been a cook.
beautiful. Me and James I'm writing a book, and James has helped me. It's almost done. It's called Breaking the Cycle. So if you have a family of addicts, you change that for your kid. Your kid's not going to grow up with that addiction mindset or fear of it. You grow up as a gangster. My daughter, thank God, will never know what I've been visiting federal prison since I'm 5. I know every federal prison. I know everyone. I've been in the prison system since I'm 5 until 40. That's how long I've been going. So everyone knows me when I'm in the federal prison systems. And my daughter, fortunately, is never going to know that.
Nice.
Right.
So I broke that cycle. And even if it took the tragedies of my father dying, my grandfather going to jail, my friends going to jail, those horrible tragedies turned out to make my life. I was able to break the cycle.
To free you
and
in
now,
the cycle. Yeah.
Right. So all I did was, as a kid, was cook. And I wanted to be a cook, a chef. As a kid, when I opened up all the, I became an actor, thank goodness. And look where I ended up. So now let's flash forward to, 35 years later, the cooking became my new career. And where did I learn that from? From the tragedies of that happened. Because then I was just brought up by 3 women. And now, God bless me, because I have a daughter. And boom. So it's like what I did with my mother, my grandmother, we actually do together, me and her. So it's like God bless me with the 3 women, because they made me hardcore. Like, you look at me, you think I was brought up like in a room full of gorillas, like, oh, like just beating on tables. I'm brought up by 3 Italian women, and people go, oh boy. I'm like, yeah, so that's why I am the way I am, from 3 women.
Yeah.
And I teach my daughter this. So you see my daughter, I'm like, yo, I don't give a shit. She's like, but now she's hardcore. Like, not negatively, but can take a little, not going to collapse if she gets yelled at by her boss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And is pizza something you would make with your mom and your
Are you kidding?
grandma's?
We cooked everything. You have to see what I make every night. I make stuffed pepper. I make everything from Chinese food to Italian food. But so pizza in my neighborhood, everyone owned the pizzeria. We would always be in the pizzerias hanging out.
Oh, yeah.
And that was my life. And then I became an actor. For 30 years, I traveled the world, Japan, London, Australia, shooting movies all over the country. But now I said, I'm going to start this business. Me and my daughter started a pizza business, and it all comes from the 3 women in my life bringing me up from the cooking. So it kind of came back, what do you say? Like a full
circle, the full circle,
yes, full circle. Do you understand?
Yes.
And now my other career is what I learned from the most important people in my life, my women, and I got my daughter doing it. So,
and is it is it like a food truck where you guys do
it's a food truck, yeah.
That's awesome.
But we're doing bigger stuff. She runs the register. I kill myself in the back with the pizzas. And we have my partner who runs the ovens. Todd was there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You know what? Actually, Todd loves sushi. You love pizza, and I have been dreaming of a restaurant that served pizza and sushi. Because when I was pregnant, that's what I would crave is pizza and sushi, and it actually goes together really well.
It does go together really well, actually.
And I've been
Those
waiting
are my
for
2 favorites.
So there's an idea for you, Louis. You can start a pizza and sushi restaurant, and we will totally be there.
Yeah.
That's so funny because my 2 favorite foods are pizza and sushi.
Well, you got to do one. I think it would do great in LA. Can you see it? I can see it.
I think so.
And my daughter, I taught my daughter how to make sushi. We make our own sushi.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got to do it, Louis. You got to let us know. We're gonna come. Eat pizza and sushi.
So the whole entire mindset was food my whole life.
Yeah.
And now later
I mean,
on,
you're Italian. That makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
I'm Italian too.
Oh, are you
I
really?
get the food.
Oh,
yeah,
so
I actually, my great-great-grandmother came over to California on the train. I'm from up outside of Milan, the Alba area. Right. We went and actually visited, probably 10 years now. We went back and visited the family that's still there. Capra is the family name, and they're hazelnut farmers. They grow hazelnuts and sell them to Ferrero Rocher. So now I feel real good eating Nutella because, I'm supporting the family.
Right. Support the team, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, again, growing up in the Bronx too, where we grew up, was such a diverse area, right? And we didn't know. Growing up, I didn't know like racism. I didn't know the difference between a Jewish person or an Italian person, or Hispanic, because there were Puerto Ricans in the Bronx. There weren't Mexicans or black. Everybody was always together in the clubs. That's how we made money together. There was no divide. And you know when I realized it? When I got to LA.
Oh, yeah, that's when I realized it too. I was from San
People
Francisco.
started saying
that's where it's so funny.
And people would be like, oh, the Jewish people run Hollywood. I'd be like, what is that? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. And then people would be, and I lived in Venice. So I would watch the Crips and the Bloods shoot each other through my window.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be like, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
What if they bound together? You make the biggest, you'd be the strongest. That was my mindset because I was a street guy.
Yeah.
I always thought, how do we put strength together?
Oh,
We don't fight against each other. We make together.
Yeah.
And that's why people loved me growing up in the streets. I was always the middle guy going, yo, let's make money together. No need to fight each other.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And that's how 46 people got arrested. But,
So that's the difference between the Bronx and in LA, right?
I guess that's what I was saying.
Oh, yeah. Trust me,
You get what
LA
I'm saying,
was
right? Paisano.
I was
You
from
get
San
what I'm saying?
San Francisco, so it was a wake-up call, LA. I did not know racism. We all got along. We all lived in the same neighborhoods. Everybody was friends. We all played together. We all had dinner at each other's houses. And then I came to LA. It was culture shock.
That's right, dude. That's right. But I didn't know anything. And when I got to LA, I'd be like, why are these guys shooting at each other?
Yeah.
I'd be like, why? I'd be like, I don't understand what you mean the Jewish people. I didn't understand it all. Remember, let me explain something to you. I didn't go to school, right? Ever. I quit at 5th grade. So I never understood, even till now, I never understood religion. I didn't understand the difference between Catholics I never really went to school, so I didn't go to church. I never understood the difference in religion. So everybody to me was one. And then, I never understood politics. I never really followed politics growing up because I couldn't stand them all. I always thought I'd rather vote for the gangster because it's just common sense. So growing up, I was never jaded by politics or religion or race or color. I was always like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? That was my thing.
Yeah.
And I would just accumulate people.
Yeah.
And when I got to LA, it was so divided. And I'd be like,
I wonder
oh my
why
God.
it is that way. Where?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
The history.
I
What
don't
makes
know.
it that way? None of us know.
But the Bronx,
Super
I'm walking
interesting.
through the South Bronx and Harlem where I grew up. I played football in East Harlem, in Jefferson Park for 12 years. We won championships, and you're talking about every diverse group of persons.
Oh, yeah.
12 teams, and we would all, at the end, we'd pull out the barbecues on the field and cook and eat together.
That's
in Harlem.
awesome.
Hey,
I'd be walking through the South Bronx and burnt out buildings. Everybody be like, Ducky, what's up? There was no threat.
Yeah, so your nickname was Ducky?
Yeah.
The Ducky Boys from the Wanderers.
Wanderers.
Hey,
right.
listen.
How did he get Ducky as a nickname, though? I'm curious.
Yeah.
Well, that's funny. When I was like 5 years old,
He was ducking bullets? No, I'm
grandmother, who was
kidding.
amazing. My grandmother was amazing. She did 5 years in prison, my grandmother. My grandmother was hard, and she looked like Sophia Loren. If you look at her, you're like, oh my God, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She's hardcore. She did 5 years in jail. She was like the maid. She was like the boss, my grandmother. Everyone loved her, and that's where I got my strong personality from, was her. She didn't take a crap from anyone. She always, stood her ground, and she won most of the times. So, yeah.
So Ducky, where did Ducky?
She took me for Halloween shopping, bought me a duck costume, and when I went back to my neighbor, it was like the real one with the beak and all.
Oh, yeah.
And my buddies in the Bronx, everyone has a nickname in the Bronx.
And you can never escape it. How old were you when you got that Halloween costume? 5, and it was stuck with you.
And let me tell you, people still don't know my name. You know how people knew my name when I got to Hollywood? A lot of the Bronx didn't know me. They knew me as Ducky. You know how a lot of people knew my name?
How?
When they would watch the credits in the movies.
That's
That's how they
like,
figured it out.
Yeah. They'd be like, Louis Lombardi. Oh, my goodness, that's hysterical.
They're like, that must be Ducky.
Exactly, right. That must be that right. And people would know my name. These are guys I grew up with.
That's
Didn't
so
know.
funny, and they didn't even know your name.
So
That's
you know
great.
what's funny about now? So when I walk through LA, and if I hear somebody go, Ducky, I know somebody knows me from the Bronx. I go, okay, this guy's he's gonna throw dirt on me, or to be afraid of me,
Yeah.
Okay, now what advice would you give somebody chasing their dreams? Because so you've come so far through this.
These days, after all the years of how business has changed, you have an iPhone, create your own stuff. Don't sit there waiting. You'll never get auditions. You'll never get past half the stuff. They've limited what you do. Get out there, create stuff, create short form content, put it up on YouTube. They have these micro dramas they're doing.
Yeah.
Create, instead of sitting on your phone with TikTok, take that phone and utilize it.
Yeah.
That's really good advice, to just take action.
Yeah.
And open a YouTube channel, create a drama.
You start doing crazy fun stuff. And it's like,
yes. And get your actor friends. If you're in a class or a group, take your iPhone, shoot micro dramas, 1, 2, 3 minute dramas. Put them up on YouTube. Create your own world. Create your own TV channel, because that's the future. In a few years, most of the streamers will be out of business. Sad to say, but it will be. YouTube has more viewers, more followers than all the streamers put together.
Yeah.
And it's just beginning in the micro drama section. They're called micro dramas. But shoot stuff that's kind of decent, not just kicking jumping off a bridge and for views. Find something if you're an actor
to tell a story. Yeah.
To tell a story.
But you got to tell in 3.
Like
but you got to tell it in 3 minutes. Is what you.
That's right.
And we got a lot of viewers too that are not acting just life, like realities of life. And I think there's a lot that you've said too there that's just about persistence and just about taking action and not being scared off by,
rejection. Not being scared off by rejection. That's the secret.
That was my biggest strength, was listen to no one. My mother told me to become a construction worker. I used to tell her, you go do that. I still to this day, she'll be like, because when I wanted to be an actor, everybody in the Bronx was like, what's an actor? What does that mean? What does that mean? I was like, I'm an actor. I want to be an actor. What is that? And everybody would crap on your dreams, because people are afraid to do anything. So as years went on and I became extremely successful, everyone's like, my mother would be like, I'm so proud of you now. I'd be like, you told me to be a construction worker. You needed money. And I said, I ignored you, and thank God, because now look where I am. But the biggest thing I'm going to give to younger people, the biggest thing is break the cycle.
Yeah.
Break. I don't care what addiction, what vice, what your family has been through to fight. If your parents fight, don't fight. Learn to break that cycle. If your parents do drugs or alcohol, don't. Break that cycle so now your generations can have a clean, fresh start on how they see their lives going. And that's what happened with me. My daughter, thank God, is never going to understand visiting me in prison like I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's not going to be in the prison rooms, and I was in every prison. So that's why I knew everyone as well. I've been visiting prisons since I'm 5.
That is
All the guys
such
loved me
good
because I was
advice,
aggressive.
Louis.
Right. So break the cycle. I don't care whatever it is. Your parents fight. They do alcohol. They do drugs. They do smoking cigarette. Whatever it is that negatively impact your growing up or your life, break that and give your family, the future of your family, a fresh, clean start to decide what they want to do.
And it's such a healthier outlook too, because I think so often, like you said, with your dad dying young and your grandfather being in prison, like you could have seen yourself as a victim and you would have boxed yourself in and limited yourself. But instead of seeing, like, and I think that's a message that we need to hear a lot more, because everybody's going to get dealt hard things. There's always going to be hard things.
That's right.
And you have to see them not as something that's
Tragedies.
holding you back, but like you said, break the cycle, identify it and say, okay, I know what that is. I know what that's like, and I don't want that. I'm going to choose something different.
So turn the tragedy into success.
Exactly.
And that's what I did with my life.
I love that.
You know, I don't look at even people, oh, your father, they say, I go, no. Don't sit there pity partying, because if he was alive, and I'll be honest, I would not be here. I would be in some jail. That's fact.
Yep.
I would be, if my grandfather didn't do 30 years, I would be in jail. If my father didn't pass, and I would probably, because he would have never gone, he was a gangster. He's going, what's an actor? He would have been the same thing. And I'd be like, you're right. I want to be what you're teaching me to be. Instead, I was a clean slate growing up. I didn't know religion, politics, race. I didn't know anybody's diversity. It was all just like, I would walk the streets and go, hi, like I do now. If you ride with me, you're like, my daughter laughs. I'm in the supermarkets because I love shopping and cleaning. My daughter's like, I talk to everyone. Hi, what are you making? She'd be like rolling her eyes. And I strike, and people come, they communicate. And that's what I did in the Bronx. So as a kid, I had a clean slate in life. I wasn't jaded by the prisons or the death. It was all just, okay, I'm just going to go on my little path. And I've never listened to no one. I've always followed my path. 30-something years later, I won an Emmy for 24. Nice. We won an Emmy for Best Drama. I've been on the 3 of the biggest shows in TV history, Sopranos, 24, and Entourage. I've done 100 movies. I've worked with every massive star in the world. I've been hired by all of my idols, and by not listening to anyone.
It's amazing.
The whole point of what I
love this. Yes.
And don't get dejected in your life.
That's right.
Like you said, tragedies will happen every day. Yep. Turn that tragedy into a positive. That's my life. You know people that'll know me, they're like, yo, this guy just skates through the biggest death. People die. I go, okay, I'll be dead soon sometime. Until that day, we live happy. I wake up every day happy. And my ex-girlfriend, when they would wake up and go, why you wake up happy? She would be so mad because she was depressed. And I'd be like, because you don't know where I came from. Everybody's in jail or dead. I'm sitting in a freaking beach in Santa Monica in a penthouse, driving a car. I have a 5th grade education. I came from nothing. This is why I'm happy to just wake up every morning. If I wake up, I don't care how much money I got anymore. I don't care what I got. I just walk around and go, okay, I don't care.
You're right. Happiness is a choice, right? It is a choice.
Yes,
it is.
Absolutely.
It can be a choice.
Most people find politics, Trump. Go, dude, this way you walk around with your family, cursing politics? They're all lowlife. They're all criminals. I never voted in my life. And if you believe a left or a right is making you are a buffoon, you are a sheep following the system.
It's true.
The government is against the people. As of now, look what they're doing. The politicians are not running our country. If you believe that, you're a buffoon and you're naive. It's the BlackRock. It's the Rockefeller. It's the biggest people running our society, the businesses that own everything. They are controlling the politicians. They put them in there and they make sure the laws are passed to make them more wealthy. If you don't believe that, you don't know what you're doing. You're too busy watching TikToks doing the stupid dances.
True. Yeah. Well, Louis,
I know social media is like kind of a numbing.
Well, social media is
very
numbing.
It's
a numbing agent.
And that's what but that was the plan of the elites. Dumb down our society. Uneducate our youth so they vote for people that they think is right because they hear and they're afraid. Control with fear.
Gotcha. You got it. Well, Louis, thank you, man. But
we're at ToddFlix time, which you'll love this one.
Well, one of my ToddFlix this week.
So every week we do a special on something we're streaming or binging.
And I'm doing it on Blacklist. It's an
NBC
crime thriller.
Yeah, I don't watch TV anymore.
With James Spader. He's from Criminal Minds. He's
a criminal mastermind
named Red.
He goes by Red.
Yes, by Red Reddington, which I don't understand because he doesn't have any red hair or anything like that. I couldn't figure that out.
I don't know where it's because it's Reddington. It's because it's Reddington, and this is an old one. This one's from 2013.
Yeah,
but
and James Spader was also he plays Ultron in the Marvel movies. He plays Ultron, and what's really good about it is it's about a criminal who ends up working with the FBI.
Yeah, one day he just walks into the FBI and turns himself
but I think
in.
all that was a setup. For me, all that was a setup to walk into the FBI and get everything going so he can continue to do his back deals and make his millions of dollars while he was helping the FBI catch certain people that were in his way. So he wanted to get rid of those people.
Well, and there's more to it than that, too, because he wants to work only with Elizabeth Keene, who's played by Megan Boone. She's this brand new profile, and nobody can figure out why he wants to work with her.
But we can't tell you why he wants to work with her because otherwise it'll mess up the whole thing up.
It's a few seasons in.
I don't watch any television. I'm disheartened with television.
You've checked out.
I'm checked out. I'm tired of the garbage they put on. I'm tired of the redundancy. The same actors, the same stories. Come on. No more creativity. It became a business.
I'm watching some shows right now, though, that are really, really good. I'm watching some good shows right now.
Our entertainment business became McDonald's. Fast food for the mind.
Well, at least you can access the old stuff, right?
Yes.
A lot of what we end up binging is the old stuff.
It is. That's what everybody ends up doing. That's why I'm still making money off my shows. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you, Louis. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my man. I'm on my way right now to the pizza truck.
Good. Go work. Tell your daughter I said hello. Give her a hug for me.
Absolutely.
And take care. Stay out of trouble. And glad those 20 friends got locked up and you didn't.
40. And if
40,
you're ever
right.
if you're ever in LA, you let me know. I got you guys pizza.
Yeah, man. I want a good pizza, man. All right, cool.
Right now. I'm on my way to my pizza truck now. We're there for a month straight at the Lakewood Mall pumpkin patch.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much, man. We
Well,
appreciate you.
You gotta say dang.
You gotta say dang.
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 Nice
Thank you so much.
you.
Please like and subscribe.
I can see who the better half is.
Oh, shut up. Like and subscribe. And please
Bye, Louis.
continue. Bye, Louis. Have a good time. See ya.
You got it, guys.
Bye. Dang is produced by my wife, Bettijo Bridges, in collaboration with Star Worldwide Network Studios, and edited by our daughter, Adelie Ann.
She's also the musician responsible for our theme music, so go check out Adelie Ann wherever you stream your music. Have a question or topic you want us to cover? Send us your suggestions at dangpodcast.com.
Do me a favor. Please subscribe and rate our podcast to make it easier for others to find. Have a great week.
Yeah,